I'm Sean White, and today we're meditating on protein. We've already talked about carbohydrates and fats, so now you know them, you love them. We got to talk about protein, right? We got to wrap up our Nutrition 101 on macronutrients and talk about protein. And I mentioned on the other ones, carbohydrates and fats tend to get vilified a lot, and protein is put up on such a high platform. It's the most beloved macronutrient of the three. And I think by and large, there's also a lot of misinformation about this. So what I want to do today is I want to talk about protein. I want to talk about what it is. I want to talk about why we need it, where to get it, and some of the misconceptions about it and some of the misinformation that's out there. So let's get started talking about protein. Proteins are just molecules that are made up of amino acids. Now, why do we need them? Well, they are the building blocks of the body, right? Amino acids are used to build and restore muscles and bones, to create hormones and enzymes, and in extreme instances, they can be used for energy as well. Say if you're fasting, you don't have any other energy source coming in. I mentioned carbohydrates are your body's preferred source. Fat is also a really good source because it's high in calories. Protein's down on the bottom of the list, but it can be used for energy. Now, amino acids, there's 20 amino acids, but only 9 of them are considered to be essential. And this is because our body cannot create those amino acids themselves, right? So we need to get them from an outside source. We need to get them from a food source. Now, you're going to hear complete proteins and incomplete proteins. A complete protein is going to have all 9 of the essential amino acids that the body needs, where an incomplete is going to be missing 1 or more of them. Animal-based proteins are widely considered to be complete proteins, where plant-based tend to be incomplete, although quinoa and soy-based products like tofu and tempeh, edamame, they are also complete proteins. Hey, brah, where do you get your protein? Hey, brah, where did you get your protein from? People are obsessed on where you get your protein from, particularly if you're vegan. Forget about it. If you're vegan, it's like, oh my God, where do you get your protein? Everybody's obsessed with this. There's a study that I read more recently that said 97% of people get more than enough protein. On the flip side, 97% don't get enough fiber. So people should be going, hey, brah, where do you get your fiber from? But, whatever. You can get your protein from a whole multitude of sources, right? That's not the problem. The problem tends to be making sure that you're getting good, protein from healthy sources, right? So we mentioned animal-based proteins. Now, animal-based proteins can be high in fats if you're not going and looking for lean sources. On the flip side, plant-based proteins can be high in carbohydrates as well. So this is also another thing that you need to look at, particularly depending on the diet that you're currently doing, right? So good sources of proteins will be lean meat. So we can be looking at like skinless chicken breast, turkey, salmon, white fishes, pork loins. You could also do eggs, milk, try to go with like low fat, not the full fats, Greek yogurt. Plant-based, really good sources, quinoa I mentioned, tofu I mentioned because those are your complete proteins. But also legumes, beans are great. Nuts are really good as well. You can also find some really good plant-based protein sources that are low in carbohydrates or lower in carbohydrates, like spinach, asparagus, arugula, which I love, pistachios, peanuts, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. So these are your different sources for your protein. So it's really, I think, imperative to look at where you're getting your protein sources from, and what you're getting along with those. I know a lot of times people are very big on protein powders and protein, protein shakes and stuff like that. Some of them are really high in protein and low in everything else. Others can have a whole bunch of other stuff added in, and it can throw your carbohydrates and fat levels completely out of whack. So you really need to make sure that you're looking at where you're getting your protein from. So how much protein do we need? I don't know. There's so many different variables involved in this. Your age, your height, your weight, your activity levels, your health goals. All this are contributing factors. If you're younger and you're growing, you're going to need more protein. If you're pregnant and you have a child growing inside you, you're going to need more protein. If you're older and you're starting to lose muscle mass, you might want to increase your protein just so you can maintain that muscle mass. If you're a bodybuilder, definitely need more protein. So it gets tricky because everybody's got an opinion. Everybody wants to tell you how much. Now, here's the interesting things. If I went to the National Institutes on Health, and its recommendations is 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. That's their minimum, right? They don't say what their maximum is, but that's the minimum. So for my weight, that would be 60 grams of protein per day. Okay, I have a number. That sounds great. Now, if I go back to the USDA's ratio requirements on how much carbohydrates, proteins and fats per day, and that's 50% carbs, 25% each on protein and fats. Well, if I punch in the number 60 on the for the protein, that means that my total calorie count for the day should be 960 calories. I'll lose weight on that one. If you do a 40-30-30 diet, then it's down to 800 calories per day. Who can live on that? I couldn't. You could for a while anyway. So this just becomes like the weird things. I've looked at different protein calculators, and it's anywhere from 60 to 135 to 168 grams of protein per day. I don't know. So obviously having too little protein in a day is going to be a problem, because you need the protein for these different functions in your body, for the building and restoring bone and muscle, for these hormones, for these enzymes. But, is there a problem with too much protein? Well, if you look online, and everything online is true, obviously, you'll read that excess protein can cause weight gain, constipation, dehydration, kidney problems, increased risk of certain cancers, heart disease, calcium loss. Is this true? Yes. Is it not true? Yes. This is one of those things where you need to look at all the different variables involved in stuff. It's yes, if you're eating a very high protein diet that's animal based, you might not be getting enough hydration if you're not drinking enough fluids. We get a lot of hydration from fruits and vegetables. So if you're not getting enough fluids in, you might be dehydrated, which might cause constipation and may also cause kidney problems. If you're looking at heart disease, red meats and high fat dairies can be a cause of that. If you're getting your proteins from other sources beyond those, then you're probably not going to have these same issues. So you got to make sure that you're looking at everything in its totality and all the different variables involved, which is why, in summing up all the macronutrients in general, if you have questions about this, particularly for yourself, I would recommend visiting a registered dietitian nutritionist, right? Don't get your health requirement needs from an influencer or even a health coach. I am not a medical professional, right? I am providing you with general knowledge, general information, letting you know what macronutrients are, why we need them, what they do within our body. But I'm never going to tell you how much to eat on any of them because I am not a doctor. So that's going to be all I'm going to say on that. Is if you're really concerned, if you're going to make a huge dietary change in your life, I would go see a dietitian first, and making sure that you're doing things, you know, intelligently and health, you know, very healthy, because that's what I want from you guys. I want you guys to live longer and healthy, and live the best lives, right? So. Hopefully you liked this video. I know I didn't tell you to eat tons of protein, so you might give me a thumbs down. But if you liked this video, click the like button. If you want to hear more of what I got to say, then subscribe, turn on notifications, find out when new videos are coming on, and leave me some comments down below. Let me know your feeling on proteins, because I really feel like everybody's got an opinion on this. So until we speak again, be well, be safe, and be kind, everybody.